Oh, shoot. Welcome back, YouTube. Chico Moore, Glazemob Podcast. First, I want to start off by wishing in prayers to all the families that were affected by Hurricane Ian. Anything that, y'all can do to, hopefully your loved ones are remaining safe out there as best way they can. Times is hard right now, and I think we all need to come together and, do whatever we can. But episode 5, the other day I was driving to work and I started thinking, with the first season of Glazemob Podcast and, the platform and me trying to spread it out to the masses and everything, I think I'm gonna call this season Friends and Family, right? So in saying Friends and Family, today we have a special guest. Last episode I did let you be known that it's somebody dear to my heart, and you guys are going to see that this person is so educated with so many realms, and obviously sports in general, which is the basis of what I'm starting right here. So without further ado, you know what? Start my intro and then we're gonna get into it. Welcome back, YouTube. Glazemob Podcast, episode 5. Like I said in the intro, guys, this is a very, 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 very special person. As you all can tell by the handsome looks, this is my father. Dad, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Hassan Mustafa. As Arshad has just alluded to, I am his dad. And while I have the opportunity, I'd like to thank you for that introduction and to congratulate you on your new podcast.
Thank you.
You finally brought it to fruition. You've been talking about doing it for a while.
Yep.
And so now it's the time has come. So
finally,
yeah,
finally, it's always, like I said, it's always hard to because I have such a massive vision for what I want to do with the Glazemob and everything, and it's just like I tell my girlfriend all the time, it's just like I gotta start somewhere,
right?
And it's just more and more, and for you guys, just continue to push out all these bangers, and like I said earlier, season 1 is really going to be predicated to the people that I love, the people that I cherish, and giving them, because from all I actually got this idea of podcast from my dad, right? Like, we grew up having countless arguments on basketball, football, golf. I mean, and it dates back to you with your brothers.
Sure.
So I can remember how many times. Matter of fact, you know what? I still can remember when I became of age in the backyard. Well, I guess in the alley, in the driveway, playing basketball 1-on-1 to make sure that you said Michael Jordan would be in your top 5.
Yeah.
How long did it take? Because for some reason, it took me a little while to finally beat you. But who?
You were a junior.
Mm-hmm.
You were a junior when you finally beat me.
Okay.
Yeah.
About 16.
Yeah.
So
were a junior.
I guess now, who would be your top 5 now, basketball players that you've seen? Who would be your top 5? And for people at home, I was making so he could put Michael Jordan in his top 5.
Michael Jordan, you alluded to, LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
At the top?
No particular order.
Well, I'm gonna say this: at the top is Will Chamberlain. He's a world apart.
Mm-hmm.
He's if anyone just stops to look at the individual accomplishments, of those individuals. Wilt's, he's in the class. We should have, instead of a Mount Rushmore, we should have Mount Wilt.
Mm-hmm. So for you, Wilt is definitely that standard.
Yes. Jabbar, Wilt, Jordan, LeBron, and I'm going to have to say Oscar Robertson.
The Big O. Mm-hmm. People don't remember how good he was. You know, with Oscar Robertson, I feel like he doesn't get his. I mean, like they say nowadays, his flowers.
Well, you got a lot. It's going to happen to today's players as well as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But it happens a lot. You had a player back in those times with Big O and all those guys named Elgin Baylor, and I can't describe. You not having seen him.
Mm-hmm.
I can't describe to you how good he was.
Right.
You wouldn't. Because you never hear about him. I can't describe to you, having not seen this guy, how good he was. It's going to happen to today's players as well. It's going to happen to Jordan. At some point in time, Jordan is going to be the Wilt.
Oh, yeah. Because it's already happening. The more and more that, like you even said, like, you know, you have people that came up and grew up with Jordan, right. And now they have the ESPN and Fox Sports, and so they're fans, and they grew up and say, hey, man, I saw this guy. I was there broadcasting and covering the flu game, or I was there covering the finals and the three-peats and the other three-peat and this and that. So now that they're on ESPN and Fox Sports and all these major sports television shows, that, you know, of course, Jordan is their guy. But now you see people like myself and, well, hopefully when I get there, God willing, but when you see like the younger generation, now it's like LeBron. It's like, hey, you know, LeBron. Now, do you think that I would say who is if you had top 10 players that you can think of in your mind, right? Mm-hmm. Who would be in your eyes untouchable? And do you see people like right off the top of my head, like let's say a Giannis coming into that top 10? Like I know you have people that are untouchable, like Kareem, LeBron, Wilt, Jordan. But do you have people that are on, let's say, that cusp, like a Larry Bird or a Magic Johnson? So some people, you know, Magic. Mm-hmm. So do you see anybody from today's league, or, you know, early 2000s, whatever you want to say, potentially getting into what you think would be like, yeah, I can see he has a great argument for being top 10 all time.
Yeah, sure.
Who would you think?
Well, you just mentioned Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's 6 years in?
I think something like that. 7, it might be 7, 8.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, yeah, he's got time. Things he's accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
He has time. But if you look at the people that you just named, Kareem was the all-time leader points.
Right.
Will was the all-time leader points. Before
LeBron, sticking on Kareem,
going to be.
Sticking on Kareem, before LeBron, right? Before like LeBron comes into this realm of greatness that he's in, did you ever think that Kareem's record would get broke?
Yeah.
You thought yeah?
Because in order to break his record, you have to put 20 years in. That's the standard. You know what I'm saying?
And consistent 20 years.
And so when people tell me, it took LeBron 20 years to do it, Jabbar did it in 20 years.
Right.
So it's going to take that to do it, to break it.
Right.
Can you imagine if Jordan broke it in 13 years? Can you just imagine that?
Oh, man.
So it's not going to take 13, 14, 15 years. It's going to take 20 years.
Right.
See, and that's not easy to do. People want to dismiss the fact that the longevity factor, that's not easy to do, though.
Why do you think that they, especially when it comes to like LeBron and Jordan, right? Why do you think that they discredit the longevity so much?
Because it's just an argument. It's just an argument that they can use for or against one.
Mm-hmm.
For or against one.
Okay.
For one and against the other. That's all it is. Yeah, because longevity, like as the saying goes now, especially in football, that availability is the best ability.
Right. Okay.
You know, so that's important.
And I keeping it on basketball before we get to football, because I know we're right in the start of the NFL season. what are your thoughts on Steph, and because you have a different opinion on his impact on the game, mainly because everybody this surgence of 3-pointers, and you have a different kind of like an opinion of, because you grew up in a time where it said, hey, you ain't gonna be jacking up all these threes and
right.
This and that. You got your feed
right.
the post, right? You got a mismatch down low. Why are you jacking up threes? So what is your opinion on Steph? And I know a lot of people are trying to push him to that top 10 status.
Not players.
Mm-hmm.
Not top. I wouldn't put him in the top 10 players.
Mm-hmm.
Shooters, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Shooters,
okay.
Yeah, top 10 shooters. Not players. Because you got to do more than shoot.
Right.
Yeah.
Defend.
You know what I'm saying? Well, that
some
goes,
type of
right.
rebounds.
Exactly. Shooters, yeah. If you're gonna do specific, but players,
mm-hmm.
no, I can't. I can't do that. You got to do more than shoot.
Now, for the listeners out there, what are you? I remember when I was a kid, you used to tell me about this guy that should have been Jordan before Jordan, and not a lot of people know about him, but the ones that do know about him, they know about him. Talk to me a little bit about, was it Michael Ray Richardson?
Not Jordan. He wasn't Jordan, but Michael Ray Richardson, they call him Sweetness.
Okay.
Got banned from the league. For substance abuse. I think he was the first and only one. Incredible.
All right, so Sweetness, Michael Ray Richardson. And you say he got banned?
Got banned. Played with the New Jersey Nets.
No, this is before or after Julius?
This was right around the time Magic and them had came in. He was with Magic then.
Okay.
Magic, those guys.
Okay.
And incredible talent.
Mm-hmm.
Just incredible talent. And of course, he was just getting started, just getting his name out there.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, then he got banned. So,
do you put him in the same, I guess, like talent bracket?
No.
With Pete Maravich?
Well, Pete Maravich had a full career.
Mm-hmm.
So talent-wise, yeah.
Okay.
But he's kind of like Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson gets forgotten because he didn't have a long career. Mm-hmm. But people that saw Bo Jackson play know. No, in football, they know what Bo Jackson was doing to the NFL in football, but he just didn't have a long enough career for them to really. That's the way I would put him in that category.
Okay, and I'm glad you said that, and now bringing it over to football. What is from? Because a lot of guys that grew up in your time and a little bit after look at today's league, and obviously it's all predicated on offense, and putting points on the board and this and that, and the rule changes to help the offense, right? Who do you think that you see in today's game, and even like I said, I mean, let's go from mid 2000s to now, like who in today's game do you see that could have played that type of style of football and still been able to flourish in the league? I mean, there's a couple that come to mind, like T.O.
Well, you got a
T.O. I guess came from.
Well, you got a number of those guys that could have. In football, the rules just changed. Mm-hmm. You got a number of them that could have played back then. It's just they don't play that way simply because the rules say they can't.
Okay. Do you think they would have had as a long of a career? Well, I guess you can never kind of tell. Injuries can happen in a snap of a finger.
Right. I think they would have been just as. I think they would have been just as good. Mm-hmm. What people don't realize is that a lot of guys that played back then were just as good as they were. So they weren't good. You know what I'm saying? So they weren't going to outshine those guys. They would have been good players. Like those guys were good players. Because back then, those guys, they were skilled. You know, they were skilled and they were rough, and they got away with things they couldn't get away with now. That was the difference. They just get away with things.
Okay. Do you think so? When you went to in Tucson, grew up in Tucson, you played football at Pueblo, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Who was that guy that you guys saw, whether it was in your class or a couple classes before you or a couple classes after you, that you guys saw that you was like, yeah? And I put it like this: like, you remember when, playing ball, I was at Cedar Hill, and Kyler Murray, and what Kyler Murray was doing, and everybody is like, oh man, this guy. And you had to go see him play.
Right.
And then he goes to Oklahoma, does what he does at Oklahoma. And then obviously is doing what he's doing in the NFL. And everybody from Texas, especially around here, knew like, yeah, Kyler Murray. I think Kyler lost he only lost one game or two games as a starter. And one of them being he didn't even start the full game. I think that's when he kind of took over for Allen. Who was that guy you remember in your time, where you grew up or around where you grew up, or somebody that you saw while you was playing that's like, yeah?
To be honest, most of the guys that I can remember that were in that category got hurt. They were, you look at them and say, oh, well, it's a foregone conclusion that he's gonna go. Usually they went to college and got hurt. UCLA, USC, Georgia, and then they got hurt. But they were on that trajectory, and there was a lot of them. I'm trying to think of one that. Give you two stories. I played with a guy named Leonard Thompson. Leonard never played.
What position he played?
He was a running back. I was a sophomore in high school. He was a junior.
Okay.
Never played. The coach's favorite was a big running back. He was big. He was athletic, big, strong, fast. But he didn't have football acumen. He didn't have instincts. Coach loved him. Coach started him. Leonard languished on the bench. Leonard was a smaller running back, lightning fast. Never played. Everybody knew he should have been playing because the guy ahead of him wasn't producing like he should have.
Okay.
The coach knew that when Leonard graduated, the coach knew that he should have been playing. He knew he had talent that he should have been playing. Great coach, but our coach is great, by the way. I don't fault him for not playing him. Got him a scholarship. The coach worked on getting him a scholarship.
Okay. Coach worked on getting Leonard.
A scholarship. Okay. Got him a scholarship to junior college, Western Arizona. They got him there. They switched position. They put him as wide receiver to get him in space with his speed.
Oh, one of those. Just give him the ball and let him do his thing.
Wide receiver. All-American JUCO 2 years. Went to Oklahoma State. All-American at Oklahoma State. Into the NFL. And he played 16 years with the Lions. 16 years with the Detroit Lions. He was number. If you ever look at old films of the line, number 39. That was Leonard Thompson. He had an odd number, so people kind of remember. No, he played 16 years
as a wide receiver. He wore number 39.
He's the co-owner of the record for number of touchdowns in the game. He had 6 in the game against the defensive back that was on your Uncle Rashid's team when he was at New Mexico State. They have to play against each other.
What team was that?
He for the Packers. He was a defensive back for the Packers. But Leonard scored 6 touchdowns. He's co-owner. There's somebody else that did it, to Moss or somebody. But from nowhere, from not playing in high school to that situation, on one hand, right? On the other hand, we had a guy named Jesse Parker. He was the guy. I would say he was the guy that you looked at and said, well, he can't miss. He's went to UCLA, man. Junior year, got his knee ripped up, and he was on that trajectory. He was on the Heisman. He was on the Heisman
running back
watch.
too.
Yeah, he was running back, and he ended up getting hurt, of course. But as far as somebody that actually that from junior high or young age to actually going to the pros and producing, I'm kind of challenged to find somebody like that actually didn't get hurt.
Yeah, I know. I know it's few and far between. I know back in the day. I mean, I'm sure for you, it'll probably be a much easier if I was to flip the question and just change the sport. Now, who in basketball did you guys run with and was like, because I remember playing basketball and, you know, dudes would come in and, you know, whether they, you know, they drew off that path and, you know, ended up, you know, doing some illegal activities or whatnot.
Right.
But when they would come into the gym, I remember this guy, I won't say his name or anything, but I remember this guy coming into the gym 10th grade year. Everybody knew he smoked weed. And we're sitting there and it was, I think he's open gym, right? So remember Coach McDaniel?
Mm-hmm.
So Coach McDaniel gets us and he's like, hey, open gym, right? If you guys want to, you know, run some games or whatever, you know, feel free. You know, it's between, I think this was after school, so it probably would have been between, let's just say 4 and 6, right? Open gym. So, of course, some of the varsity guys come, they watch, JV, because I'm in 10th grade, watch, and you got these guys coming in. Well, there's this kid who was, you know, I'm not going to say delinquent or whatever, but he didn't take school seriously, obviously, but it looked like he didn't care about basketball, but he was just gifted.
Right.
And came in, like I said, everybody knew he smoked weed. And this kid demolished the team by himself. I mean, he's going back and forth, running the court. Buddy gets the rebound, coast to coast. Layup, dunk. The hell? Once again, coast to coast. He's getting outlet passes. He's doing in and out pull-ups. I'm like, well, who is this guy? He didn't even end up playing for Cedar Hill. He ends up going to, I think he ended up getting kicked out of Cedar Hill. Something happened weird with Cedar Hill. He goes and ends up playing for Kimball and takes them to state. Crazy. Goes to Kimball and takes them to state.
That's not the one that team that Nick was on, is it? When they won state that. Oh, it was before him.
Before him.
Okay.
Yeah, because this would have been 20.
Okay.
What is this? This probably would have been 2010.
Okay. Yeah.
2009, 2010. But yeah, he goes and takes them to state at Kimball.
But you know, sports is full of those stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're just full of those stories.
Yeah, I mean, you have so many guys.
I had a young guy. Of all the people in Tucson, basketball wise, this one guy was he was 5'8", maybe 5'9", at the tallest.
Okay.
And he was everybody that knows him around that time will attest to it.
Mm-hmm.
He was my older brother's age, and man, this guy was he was again you couldn't describe, because any way that you describe, if you gave an accurate description of it, you say, oh no, this wasn't like that. He went to prison. He went to prison.
Wow.
And he robbed a bank, went to prison.
It just triggered me. Can't remember his name, but as soon as you said he robbed a bank, I remember you telling me this. As soon as you said that.
And playing this, I was JUCO, my first year in JUCO. We played this team. We played one of the teams in the playoffs the year before us. Mm-hmm. The guy that I was guarding ended up playing with the Hawks. He ended up starting for the Atlanta Hawks after he went to West Virginia, ended up playing for the Hawks. But he was a sophomore that year, and we're playing and we're talking, and I was saying, man, and this guy's name came up that had no. He said, man, let me tell you what happened to us. We were scrimmaging against a team from the prison.
Mm-hmm. Wait.
And in preseason, you know, they
hold on, time out. They was scrimmaging a team from a prison.
From the prison. Because there was a prison like here. There's a prison in Hutchins.
Hutchins, yeah.
Yeah. And you know, they might scrimmage.
Yeah.
So they scrimmaged his prison, and he said, man, there was a guy on there scored 58 points against us. He said, man, it was a guy, He said those guys scored 58 points against us. And I said, what, 58 points? He said, yeah, man. He said, and I was trying to guard the dude, man. He was like unguardable. And I said, Rex, what's this guy's name? He said, it was Hogan. I said, oh, okay. It was the guy I was talking about. He was, man, he was unstoppable. Mm-hmm. He's uncoachable. Mm-hmm. That's why he wasn't playing. He played half a year. His senior year was All-State. Mm-hmm. He played the first half of the year and didn't have the grades and couldn't play the second half, and he was All-State.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So basketball, and I would say, no, I can't say basketball. Sports, they're full of those stories, man.
Yeah.
And full of those stories.
And I think everybody has somebody like, even like you said, I remember you talking about like how you and your brothers had the with Lafayette Lever, mm-hmm. and how did y'all see him coming like that?
No. It's incredible because he took the same little old funny game mm-hmm. that he had in junior high to the pro. He didn't change nothing. The same little old...
He went and played with Nuggets, right?
And then nothing changed. Nothing changed. Mm-hmm. That same little old funny game. He jumps this high off. We ain't got no high. He won the leading rebounds, guards in the league. Mm-hmm.
And don't got near no high.
He got about that much.
What they say, can't jump over $1.
But see, in high school, we always had small teams. Every guard that's ever played for Pueblo, mm-hmm. the Uncle Randall averaged 12 rebounds a game. So every guard...
That's saying something. Uncle Randall is 6 feet on a good day.
And we worked. Mm-hmm. Everybody had to rebound. And Fat was just a product of that. Mm-hmm. He was a product of good positioning. Just that and the other. He was just a product of how he was coached. Okay. But yeah, Fat. No, nobody saw. No, not from him. Mm-hmm. I will say this though. See, Jeff didn't get a chance to play his sophomore year because he wasn't getting the grades. His mom took him out, but Fat did. Okay. Randall was All-American. So everybody was coming to see Uncle Randall. They would come to see Randall, but then at the end of the game, they would say, "Hey, who was that other little guard?" So they recognized Fat's talent. Mm-hmm. They would always ask, "Who's that other little guard?" They say he's a sophomore. They'd be like, "What's up?" Yeah. So they recognized the talent.
All right. Jumping into some more like current stuff. The first episode we kind of discussed with, like I said, with the NFL going on right now. I think the Dolphins and Bengals are playing right now. It's super early. Only 3 games have been played. But who do you see that as an early Super Bowl pick? I thought I said the Buffalo Bills, but then I looked at the blunder. What happened against the Dolphins, which is crazy. That was one of the craziest endings to a game I've ever seen. I've never seen a team be down 5. They get a 3 and out, right? The team is down 5. I talked about this. The team is down. Buffalo is down 5, right? They force a 3 and out, and they got the Dolphins all the way to the 1. So the Miami Dolphins kicker or punter has to punt it from the end zone. They snap the ball. The ball goes straight up in the air, and it's a safety. So now Buffalo is down by a field goal because 2 points, right? So then they punt. Buffalo gets a great return, right? They only need about 20, 25 yards to get into field goal range, right? They get about they get 2 plays to rack up about 17 yards. Then they get a massive holding call or some unnecessary roughing, something like that.
Right.
Now they got back, and now they need another 25 yards. So then they throw it into the middle to the wide receiver, right? Now they don't have no timeouts left. They throw it to the middle, and the clock is ticking. This dude burns it to the sideline, and I'm like, oh man, he's about to make it to the sideline with like 2 seconds left. He gets right to the sideline. It cuts upfield.
I know, I saw that.
What the hell?
I know.
So
I saw that.
But yeah, so who do you think is a good Super Bowl favorite? And do not. All right, so people at home, Pops is a Steelers fan. Now, we're going to cut this episode off if he says the Steelers. Same like I'm gonna cut the episode off if I say the Browns. So we know those two teams are not a Super Bowl, early Super Bowl. So what
that's
team,
that's not fair.
Here we
That's
go.
not fair because you can speak to the Browns, but
Who beat y'all?
but
Hold on, say it for the people at home. Who beat y'all? Mm-hmm.
well, but if the Bills win this year,
But I need to hear you say the Browns beat the Steelers.
The Browns beat the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is that nobody's gonna go undefeated.
No.
Right? The Bills can already beat Baltimore and Buffalo.
I mean Miami.
Yeah, they've already beat. So they've got that in their pocket. Even
might beat the Bengals.
they're gonna beat the Bengals.
So?
I'm gonna say they're gonna be in the playoffs. How far they go, I don't know. Because I the first game I saw, Baltimore game I saw. The Bills game I didn't see. I just saw it yesterday. I watched the replay yesterday or last night. Them dudes were playing with confidence.
Who?
Miami.
Yeah.
They was playing with confidence.
I didn't know how effective adding Tyreek Hill would be. I didn't know. Because they got speed all over the place. And I didn't know. And Tyreek Hill is weird. He's not like a Deshaun Jackson who he would just blow by you and then catch it. He will jump. Like he catches passes where he's catching it. He's high pointing this ball. And I'm like, and the dude is, he's short.
He's a good receiver, man. He's isn't it funny how all of a sudden towards this he got receivers.
Yeah, they saw him at Alabama.
He's got receivers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Burrow has great receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen has great receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Watson had who's his? You got defense receivers at Cleveland, don't they?
Oh yeah, he's not playing. He had some good receivers in the Texans because he had DeAndre Hopkins.
Who else is up? Kansas City. They've got good. They had good receivers. The only quarterback that's really killing the league,
Lamar,
that don't have receivers.
Lamar.
Give him any of those. Not just both the receivers that the Bills have, or both the receivers that the Rams have, or both of the receivers that Miami had. Yeah, give him one of those.
You know what's crazy that I heard about Lamar? And it was a long time ago, and I forgot. I wish I could have found that clip. Somebody said statistically, a first-round pick first-round quarterback only has, I want to say, is this Lamar's 5th year?
Yeah.
Okay. They said a first-round quarterback has only been to the Super Bowl one time outside of their 5 years. Can you believe that? First-round quarterback with the team that drafted them. I can't remember the one other person, but they said a first round pick quarterback, right? They've only been to the Super Bowl one. There's only been one quarterback.
You mean won the Super Bowl?
No, there's only been one quarterback that has made it to the Super Bowl after the 5 years from the team that drafted him in that first 5 years, right? So they say like Joe Burrow, right? Joe Burrow got to the Super Bowl, team that drafted him, Cincinnati, right? In the first 5 years.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes got to the Super Bowl, team that drafted him, first 5 years. Brett Favre got to the Super Bowl, team that drafted him, first 5 years. Ben Roethlisberger got to the team.
Who did they say?
I can't remember. Because it was saying it had to be with the team that drafted them.
So Roethlisberger didn't go in his first 5
No,
years?
he did. No, he did. That's what I'm saying. It's only been one that has made it with the team that drafted him outside of the first 5 years. And I think, you know what?
Joe Montana didn't go after.
I think it was Peyton. I think Peyton.
Yeah.
Peyton, because Peyton didn't make the Super Bowl for a long, because he kept running into Brady and somebody else. Right. And who was it? The Rams, I think. No, not the Rams.
Wow.
That's
crazy.
But yeah, so they said this is Lamar's 5th year. And they said statistically, this is his Super Bowl year, which is kind of funny because you see the way he's playing. Crazy, he lights out balling.
This is contract year.
Well, no, it's just and that's that's what a lot of them say. Now some of them get there and they, second year, third year, because they kind of figure it out.
Right.
They start putting those pieces like, man, this team is so great. We just need that one piece, right? That one piece that we need, right? And so you look at that. right? Dak 2 games away. Now you see the Cowboys with their struggles. Will they ever make it back? Right. And this is our first round, so people like Brady don't count because Brady wasn't the first round pick or anything like that. But it's crazy for that stat.
Wow, it's something that Lamar even got in the first round. They had to move up to get the last pick in the first round. That was crazy.
Look how that paid off.
He lost millions from that move.
For me with Lamar, I just pray because he's betting on himself to break the bank. Mm-hmm. And it sucks because Baltimore's doing him like that. It sucks that how would you almost want.
Now, I see both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I see both sides. I do see both sides. Lamar has always bet on himself.
Yeah.
One of the
they wanted to change his position. He said no.
One of the top high school quarterbacks. He couldn't go to any university because Cincinnati was the only one to guarantee that he played quarterback.
Nah, Louisville.
Well, Louisville, right? Yeah. Louisville. They were the only one that guaranteed he played. That's how he ended up there.
Yeah.
That's not where he wanted to go. Get into college. He wins the youngest player to win the Heisman, right? And he has a better year. He has a better year the next year, and they give it to somebody that's on their way out the league. They give it to Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
He had a better year than he had as a Heisman winner.
Yeah.
And they gave it to Baker Mayfield, right? So he should have back-to-back Heisman.
Was it?
Then,
who got it the year Derrick Henry got it?
No, that wasn't Lamar Jackson. That was before Lamar Jackson.
That was who might have been Deshaun Watson.
That was Deshaun Watson.
Okay, yeah. Because he broke the NCAA,
right.
But they still gave it to Derrick Henry for breaking the SEC rushing title.
Exactly. And then he gets to the pros, and he's got respected voices within the NFL saying that he shouldn't even be a quarterback. He's a pitch wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback who had a better year his senior year, gets dropped all the way down to the very last player picked in the first round, and somebody that actually wanted him had to go up to get him. Then he was dropping to the second round. So he's been betting on himself his entire football life.
So how do you see it from the Ravens side? Do you just see it from the Ravens side more as just like a business decision?
It is. I see it on the Ravens side because they've already offered $200 million. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they're just not offering. They're just not willing right now to give him what he's asking. But as far as the money, they're willing to give it to him.
So do you think?
See what I'm saying?
Do you think now? Because it's always pushing that envelope forward, right? So Deshaun Watson getting his $230 million fully guaranteed. Do you think now, if knock on wood, Lamar Jackson makes it out this season unscathed or whatever, do you think now that price is going? I said that price is going to go up now because he's in his 5th year. So to keep him, you're going to have to either I don't even think can they franchise tag him again?
I think so. They think you're franchising.
And then, do you think he forces to sit out?
Yeah, I think he would this time.
If they franchise
if he makes it through the year, he goes to play the year, and if they don't give him his money after this year, I can't see where he's playing.
That's kind of like, didn't your boy do that from the Steelers? Didn't Le'Veon do that?
Le'Veon sit out
because they wasn't. Yeah,
he sit out.
Speaking of your Steelers, how do you think? What do you think Mikey T's gonna do with y'all's quarterback situation?
They're gonna play it out. They're gonna tweak it. They're gonna play it out. They're gonna have to expand the playbook for him a little bit.
Talking about for Trubisky?
Yeah, I think he'll start the whole season. Deshaun Watson was there for him. A lot of quarterbacks was there for him. I would have got rid of Ben 2 or 3 years ago because the process of grooming would have already been done. We'd be 3 years into a quarterback now.
I don't know how you see that with a few teams that how they don't have a guy, in that quarterback room that is waiting to take the mantle. Especially from somebody who is like a Ben Roethlisberger, right? Where it's like, hey, this guy's not going anywhere until he's ready, right? And then if you have somebody under him that as soon as it's like, yeah, it's time for me to move on, then you don't have that, whatever. Now, you've seen this guy in practice because he's been with you guys for, let's say, 3 years, right? So he's been under Ben for 3. You see kind of the talent that he needs around him for him to be successful. And now you start pushing because you don't have to spend amount of money on picks to get a first round pick till you can get a quarterback. He's like, hey, we're sold on the guy we got that has been under him. Let's see how he does. Let's see how he maneuvers, and then let's go ahead and see.
That's what I was alluding to. We'd be 3 years into it now. Mm-hmm. I mean, we'd have our quarterback. We just keep going. At the same time, our defense was young, so we weren't. Our offense was going to have to carry our defense. We had all those young players,
and the defense has come around now.
Yes. So, but I'm a realist. I don't. We're going to be in the playoffs. I mean, they don't want to see us coming. True enough. But we don't have enough talent.
You think y'all gonna be in the playoffs?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Last year, I didn't take the bet, but I had a lot of people want to bet that we wouldn't be in last year.
I'm trying to see, because that's a tough division.
We're a second half.
Yeah, y'all are. Club. Y'all figured out the second half. Yeah. But that is a tough division because it used to be. And we'll see how Deshaun plays when he gets back. Because I was kind of alluding to it. The Browns could easily be 3-0 right now, right? With potential being 4-0 with the Falcons game coming up this Sunday. But you see that division, and it used to be kind of like the Patriots, right? Where it's like Patriots or ain't nobody else, right? So now it's like you have the Bengals, you have Lamar and the Ravens. Now we'll see what Deshaun Watson is with the Browns, and then you got your Steelers. It's gonna be a dog.
It's always been a competitive. The Steelers would come out of it a lot of time, but it was always a with the.
I think it was always Steelers and Ravens
with the Patriots. Though it was competitive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Competitive. But I said no. But that's what I'm saying. I feel like with y'all, it's Steelers, Ravens back. For the longest.
It was Cincinnati. Cincinnati would give everybody fits.
I can't even remember. But what were they? Because they weren't really. I guess was it Andy Dalton? But see, I don't remember Andy Dalton really. That team. Now I remember the Carson Palmer team with those guys, with Houshmandzadeh and Chad Johnson, all those boys. Right. I don't really remember Andy Dalton and them causing too much scare.
But that was only for a couple of years.
Yeah, and then the Browns. Yeah. But that's why I said the Steelers. It's always been the Steelers and Ravens
for the most part.
For the most part. What do you think? Moving more down south. What do you think is going to be happening in this great city of Dallas right now? Do you think the Cowboys stick with Cooper Rush? Or do you think they kind of say, all right, appreciate it. Come on.
Well, as long as he's winning, if he's winning, it would make no sense to give Dak time to heal. And as long as they're winning, they need to just play that out. Mm-hmm. Leave Dak, let Dak heal a little bit more and just let Cooper Rush go until.
Do you think
hits a wall?
Do you believe the narrative that Jerry Jones doesn't like Dak?
No, Dak is there because Jerry Jones likes him.
See, and that's what I tell a lot of people. What you hear a lot of people say, if Jerry, like Dak, then why would he say stuff like, "Oh, we welcome a quarterback controversy," or,
because that sales controversy sells.
Oh, and Jerry's
about that money.
Man in football.
As long as the Cowboys in the news. That's where he wanted to be. If it cost something he said, something somebody done. As long as they're in the news, Jerry's satisfied. But the only reason Dak is there is because Jerry likes him.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like we not mess with the Cowboys at all. I don't know how what happened with Taki and the family to him like the Cowboys.
He was born into this, man.
So was I, but I wouldn't become out no Cowboy fan.
Yeah, the people, the crowd that you hung with were
That is true. Taki did.
Kind of diverse, but the crowd he hung with, they were Cowboy fans.
Yeah, it's true.
That
is true.
So,
well, we'll see. Do you think, Dad, that what's gonna happen when,
you should have played wide receiver.
Yeah.
Now I'll take the blame for that because I didn't push y'all into other sports.
That's fair. Hey, State Fair killed all. Hey,
but
State Fair killed all that noise.
Even at that, we could have got past that. Had I pushed y'all into it,
yeah.
But I didn't push y'all into other sports.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just did.
What besides basketball, obviously?
I didn't even push y'all into that.
But I think
I didn't push y'all.
I think everybody. You know what? I think everybody surrounding me. I think everybody surrounding me just saw the early on, like, prodigy level of golf.
Yeah.
And I think especially like now, if I could have had like if the Roaring Lambs, which when I was a kid, Roaring Lambs, part of this group, Roaring Lambs, which is like a select golf team,
right?
Made up like all these kids from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I think if the Roaring Lambs would have had a little bit, because they had great direction from Gladys Lee, Love You to Death, Miss Lee. But if they had a little bit different mode and direction to where I think where she wanted the Roaring Lambs to eventually get to,
right? Yeah.
With the facilities that she wanted us to be in and the training that she wanted us to be in, there's without a doubt that I would have been so much more.
You got a little more exposure. Yeah, a lot more exposure.
Now, what I will say that kind of was a hidden gem for me that I didn't know about because it wasn't really brought to my attention because nobody knew about it growing up, was Ultimate Frisbee. So for the people at home, I played Ultimate Frisbee my third year in college. I actually played for the college team, University of Texas in Arlington. And we would travel, we would play, there was a whole circuit. We would play teams like TCU, University of Alabama, LSU, Oklahoma State, University of Arizona, USC, all these colleges that actually had these Ultimate Frisbee teams. I didn't know that one, scholarships was in freaking Ultimate Frisbee. Did not know that. Two, that around the time that I started playing, it was being shown on ESPN. And then not only that, they had these professional leagues that were playing in actual tournaments and stadiums and this and that on a professional circuit. And then not only that, they had, and they're trying to get it into the Olympics. They're still trying to get that game because they have the World Championships for Ultimate Frisbee, which is crazy to me because I had a tournament, well, not a tournament, but I tried out for the All-Star team in Texas, right? And I never forget it. There was a guy that was already on the team, right? He just, you come out, you want to see what players is out and this and that, whoop-de-whoop. There was a guy named Amp. They called him Amp, A-M-P. And he went to, I think he went to University of North Texas, UNT. Dude was like 6'4", fast little dude, right? And of course, they know me. They've already had seen me play multiple times, right? So they had already known that I went to these tournaments. I had got an MVP over when we went to play at Myrtle Beach, right? Okay. So I had got an MVP there. They already knew, kind of about me, this and that. So get to the tryout, and they was like, "Hey, Chico, we gonna put you on amp." So I'm like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna do my best, right? Hey, it's 1-on-1, whatever. Hey, if the frisbee gets thrown to him, I'm gonna do whatever I can. If I'm on offense, I'm gonna run my route, try to get up and do what I can." And I held my own, right? Held my own to a select team player that had already been established on that team. And I held my own. So much that I got called to the final closed tryout, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, man, this is how I'm starting to, kind of elevate myself, because we had been to professional games at these stadiums with massive fan base, right? Because it's a big community, especially in the college world.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 22, 23, and this was before, I started the career I'm in now.
Right.
So get to the closed trial, right? And it's the captain of the select team, a couple of the starters, and I'm doing my thing. I'm dogging. I'm killing, right? I'm killing. I have, in ultimate frisbee terms, it's called I think it's called Callahan, yeah. But in football terms, it would be like a pick six.
Right.
So I'm killing. I'm like, oh, I got this in the bag. I got this in the bag. Come to find out, so tryouts in, I'm shaking hands, this and that. Hey man, we appreciate you for coming. Boop, 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 boop. Hey man, I appreciate the opportunity. Blah blah blah. Man, where do you play for? I say, man, I play for UT Arlington. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I think we remember you from such tournaments. I was like, yeah. Did you was that kid? Yeah, that was me. Blah blah blah. Couple days go by, and I'm waiting on the email. Final roster. Where's my name? Again. Maybe I'm tripping. So I was like, maybe they forgot. Maybe let me slow down. Let me pause for a second. Let me see if somehow, because there's no way that they leave me off this. After the tryout that I had, there's no way. And I'm looking. No disrespect to these people, but they weren't on my list. Forget all that. I'm looking. And I'm like, no, there's no way this dude made it. There's no way that dude made it. And I know there's no way this dude made it. And that's when I found out about select teams and how favorites. And see, with them, a lot of it was, they was all like, buddy off of the field. So when you're buddy off the field, it's almost like if you are a captain and you got a guy that is decent, right? Mm-hmm. Hey man, you should come try out for the team. Okay, man. Yeah, man, we played last year, man. We traveled here, we traveled there. You should definitely come try out. And y'all already buddy off the field. So when he comes to try out, of course, you're the captain or you're, whatever. You want to put the dude that you hang with off the field over the guy that you don't know too much because you don't see him and hang with him off the field. And it's like, okay, do I have a rapport? And so what I tried to do, Dad, is I tried to make myself like so much higher than anybody else. And I was like, what the heck?
You got the little thing on with Gilbert Arenas I sent, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's along those lines.
Which is funny.
That's right along those lines.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's like you rather be sitting on the bench doing this versus doing this over here.
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing. Is that favorites are being played. Oh, yeah. That's all that is. But,
and I after that I took that and I just like, all right, well, it's cool.
Yeah. You could you had skills to play wide receiver, man, and I think about that a lot. I should have put you again. Ty King and your brother had the ability to play baseball. He wasn't afraid. I put him in the batting cage at an early age, and he wasn't afraid of the ball at all.
But you know what I like? You know what I like about you getting us into golf so early is depending on where our paths, me and Takee's paths would have went if we played other sports as much as we did play golf. But it's time, like golf is timeless and it's boomed so much that I'm already, ahead of the curve. Because I got a lot of buddies like, Chris and all of them, wanting to go play golf and this and that. And I'm like, man, I've been playing this sport since I was 4 or 5 years old, right? I'm still working on trying to get where I'm at right now. I'm still trying to work on getting that golf team started. Because there's so many of those people that I know play golf and want to travel and this and that. Same with, our family and the uncles and the cousins wanting to go play these nice courses. There's a couple, a group of kids that I watch called Good, and their vision is kind of their vision is kind of what I see for this, but not as much as golf, right?
Okay.
Because they don't do podcasts, but what they do is they travel, they play these courses, and they do like challenges. They do a lot of scrambles, a lot of best ball, but they do these challenges where it's like, my 3 versus your 3 best ball. Or, we'll go and we'll do a drive, and let's say like me and you travel to Tucson or Phoenix and link up with Rodney. Right, or then me and you, we travel to Houston, link up with Kelvin, right, and that's kind of what they do, right. So they had it, set up perfectly. They got a really big following. But yeah, man, I love playing golf. Like golf made me traveling a lot. Like to this day, Marble Falls is still the best course I've ever played. And I tell everybody, if you can go play Marble Falls. And I'm so thankful that Granny saw me play at that time.
Is that the street you live on?
Yeah, that's the street I live on. Yeah. So it comes full circle.
Yeah, you guys had a good situation. It was a good thing for you at that age.
Yeah,
real good thing.
So before we wrap up, one last thing that I want to talk about. What's your thing? Last thing. What's your basis on this whole Ime Udoka situation?
Well, he made his bed. He's got a lie in it, man. That's the basis of it, and everything's swirling around it. Well, 2 things. He made his bed. He's got a lie in it. The people that were involved with him, consensual, should pay a price as well.
And I think that's where the disconnect and distance come from, because I think a lot of people are saying like what he did, and obviously he's got a handle, and he's, like you said, laying his bed. But I think they're also looking at, if it was consensual, then why aren't these people or whoever it was involved being punished as well?
Sure.
And I think. And I remember I was watching with something where they were saying that it said, that unfortunately, but that happens in all facets in the workplace, right? And I think, who was it? I can't remember who was saying it, but they said they were former players, and they were like, oh man, it's different teams kind of have certain things let slide.
They handle it a different way, right? And that's what a lot of commentators I heard say. Well, that they should have just fired him, and not gave in to any speculation. Don't give any information out. Just fire him, and then that's
because they publicized it now, and they publicized and drew all the speculation.
But they haven't fired him. He's in purgatory. They're spending it for a year. Still don't know what repercussions is yet to come for him. So nothing's been settled. He's not even fired. That's what they were right. That's what they were saying. He's not even fired. So nothing's been settled.
Well, it's kind of like they said. It's kind of like for the organization. It's like, man, hold on. This dude just took us to the finals. This isn't, But you know what I don't like? This is what I don't like. How is his punishment the 1-year suspension? How is that? How do they put his suspension on the same level of your boy in Phoenix, the owner? The whole, how is that? He got a year suspension. They like, what?
It's appropriate in that he knew. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The policy that he broke.
Yeah.
You can't misunderstand it. That's you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
You can't misunderstand it.
I agree. That situation never works out.
Right.
Ever.
You can't misunderstand it. It's just there. And with the other guy, they're kind of setting precedent. They don't really didn't know what to do. But,
so they kind of get a year to like, let's figure this out real quick.
Yeah. And but no, that's unfortunate, man. Wow, I hate to see that too. It threw a lot of people in his wife, Nia Long, just
it's a lot. It's a whirlwind. They said that, I don't know if Val told me this or not, but they said that she had just moved or was getting ready to move to Boston, and they were looking for houses. I'm like, man, well, back down south.
Yeah, well,
But,
Iverson. Somebody told me that Iverson was ranked as a high school quarterback. He was ranked higher than Manning.
Then Peyton.
Yeah, as a high school quarterback. He was one of the top. He was the top quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, coming out that year.
Yeah,
This high.
The stuff happened with him.
Yeah, think about that. And I heard somebody say, "Oh, he's gonna get killed," and I was like, I said, "No." I said, Iverson is 6'1". He's 6'1".
Because they're around all these guys that are 6'6" and 6'7".
And when people talk about these guys, they talk about them like they're average guys.
Well, that's how I used to tell everybody. Remember,
Yeah.
people used to be like, "Oh, you so, you're so tall, you're so tall, this and you're so tall," and I'm like, Chris Paul's taller than me, right?
Steph is 6'3".
That's what I'm saying. Steph Curry is taller than me, but everybody looks at me and be like, "Oh, you're tall, you're so tall," and I'm like, if you put me on the basketball court, I'd be pretty much the shortest person on the team.
And that's what I tell people. What they do is not what they do. Don't impress me because a lot of people can do what they do. It's the size in which they're doing it at. Right. That's what impresses me. Because I used to have to play against Dennis Johnson and all these guys. They were 6'5" guards, and I'm a 6 foot guard. And them dudes, they're 6'5", skilled. Yeah. And you're like, man, give me another 4 inches.
What did they say? The league was lucky that Iverson wasn't 6'6".
Well, this is what's scary. Isaiah Thomas was beating Boston, LA, and Philly. He's only 6 feet.
That's a guy that.
But he wasn't just playing; he was beating them.
That's a guy that also doesn't get the credit. I mean, kind of when the Last Dance with the Bad Boy Pistons, they kind of start getting his credit back again. But
all these other guys were falling short. He was beating them. He went back to back in the 80s.
Yep. But for people, Jordan's career didn't start until 91.
Well.
For the most,
again, anybody that knows me know how I feel about Jordan. If you talk about the 90s, but they don't talk about when they talk about it, they talk about his whole career. But the 80s is not the same as the 90s. You know what I'm saying? If you talk about his whole career, you have to talk about all the L's he took. From 84 to 91.
Or what I've learned? What I've learned is that we talked about this, and I'll kind of wrap it up with this, that I've learned with sports, when they talk about greatest of all time and this and that, I've always learned that I don't think one person can be the greatest on a team sport. But you can have that conversation for solo sports, the mano y mano, right? You still can go dive in depth, like, well, this person was boxing or tennis or golf or whatever in a different time than this person, which is true. But it's a lot more even playing field with, they still was one-on-one and they didn't have anybody to lean on, right? Like, that's why I say, with Tiger, right? And with the whole PGA and this live debacle or whatever, he can have, is he the greatest of all time? Because there is nobody where it's like, hey man, I really don't drive the ball well. Hey, you can drive like best ball. It's like you can't step in and drive this ball and then it's all right, cool, I can hit some irons, right? It's like, hey, it's like basketball, it's like, man, I really can't shoot free throws, so don't put the ball in my hand for the last couple shots, because I don't want them hack a shack. Right. Same like tennis, right? Serena Williams and the what's the lady that has the most wins that Serena's trying to catch? She has the most. I think she has the most wins. Serena's trying to catch her.
Oh, you mean the most titles?
The titles, yeah.
That's
Grand Slam titles, I think.
Steffi Graf.
Might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like her, right? Like you got these like one-on-ones, right? Muhammad Ali, Mayweather, the boxing people, right? All these solo sports, the the track guys, from the Carl Lewis's to the Usain Bolt, these guys, right? So when you have these solos, you can have a little bit better, like, okay, how did this person dominate their sport versus this person? Because when you say, like, you know, these team guys, it's like, well, no, yeah, they dominated, but also they team was dominated. But with the solos, and you know how it is, right? I used to tell all the people, like back when I played basketball or whatever, it's like, I know, like, you was that guy, but whenever I played you, it was average. Like, I held my own. You might have been killing everybody else, but you have, you know, whatever. And you know how it is in football, right? It's like, you might face a wide receiver. Like, if you was a cornerback, you might face a wide receiver. You shut him down or whatever. He was killing everybody else, but you shut him down. And then you might face another wide receiver that nobody really knew about. And you're like, God, this guy killing him.
Oh, yeah.
What the world is going on?
Yeah.
Right? So I think with solo sports, it is like there is no running. There ain't no running, right? Where it's like, hey, this guy fought everybody that he was put in front of him to fight and demolished them. Or with golf, right? Like, this guy had so many, you know, wins and the way he won or whatever, right? Who he faced. So that's always kind of been my opinion on that greatest of all time. Is like, I just say, if you want to go like they was the greatest in the dominance or whatever they do, it's just like solo sports.
Well, there's something to that. I mean, there's something to that as far as you know, it's I really don't know if it's easy, because like I said, once you get into the nuances of the singles.
Oh yeah, it can also you can look at talent around them, the people they got to play against and stuff like that.
But I would have to agree wholeheartedly with that. So, but again, man, it's been fun. I've enjoyed being here, man, and continued success, and everybody come back and tune in another time.
All right, there you have it, everybody. Glazemob Podcast, episode 5, the Friends and Family Package. I'm glad to announce that not only are we on YouTube, you can now catch this episode and episodes in the future on audio only. I'll drop that link in the description. It's going to be on Anchor and Spotify. Make sure you go check that out. You know, whatever you got to do, play it in your car in the morning, coming home from work, play it at the gym. Run those views up, run those plays up. And like I said, we're going to keep pushing these bangers out. We got some other kind of branches from this YouTube that are going to be branching off and getting some stuff done. I'm trying to get with the Glazemob crew, getting Glazemob Gaming, and get this, Dad. We're going to be having some Glazemob golf. There's going to be some Glazemob golf, guys. And then stay tuned, because the next episode is going to be my heart. This is going to be a great one. And she is going to be talking about some of the stuff that she's got going on her platform as well. Stay tuned to that. But anyways, guys, Donut Gang, I'm going to let y'all get out of here. I appreciate it, the love. As always, support, link, comment, subscribe, whatever you got to do. Salute. Love y'all.